Alright, now we will test the proteins. So for the proteins, first we will add the extracting solution. And what this does is it separates the proteins in the urine, brings them out, attaches them to it so that our other solutions will give us the readings we need to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drops of the extracting solution, 1 drop of the urine, and we do not do this test on the saliva, just the urine. And then squeeze it for 1.5 minutes or 120 squeezes. Okay, and then I'm going to use these well plates down here, 1 drop of the extracted urine in each plate. And then for the ammoniacal nitrogen, we will use this test solution to bring it out. For the ammonia nitrogen, 4 drops. And it will start showing a reading fairly quickly, about by the time we're done putting the nitrate solution. This is for the nitrate proteins test. So this is testing how well your body deals with digesting proteins. 4 drops on each side of the well plate. And to put this pipette away, we need to put it in a baking soda solution first, because that is sulfuric acid in the nitrate nitrogen test solution. And so this, the ammonia nitrogen, is ready to be read. And there's our color chart to compare it to. Alright, we'll walk through a little words for it also. It takes 15 to 45 seconds for the test to develop. So if it's from 1 to 2, there will be hardly any detectable color. 3 is a very slight and light yellow that appears all over or in areas with a clear background for number 3. For 4 to 6, you're increasing in intensity to a canary yellow. 7, you begin developing a yellow-orange appearance. 8 is a definite yellow-orange. 9 is a little deeper orange, sometimes with copper or green-brown arc, like edge. Sometimes even a complete ring, for 9. 10 is steadily darker orange, part of the time an orange-brown ring, similar to number 8 in the nitrate nitrogen test. So a ring is similar to this one, which is also right here. So it could either be bright orange or with a ring inside of the edge. Number 11, the brown ring is moving toward the outside or towards the center. So it's moving either towards the outside, moving from there to out, or it's covering most of it, or the center is open. And 12 is the whole of the circle will be a deep orange-brown, which if it's a 12, then you have to dilute it and redo the test at a dilution and see what it comes to, and then add the 2 together. So for this one, we are going to call it a 5 because it didn't quite hit canary yellow, but it got close. And then the nitrate nitrogen, well, it takes 5 minutes to develop. So while it is still developing, if color after the 4 drops, your reading is going to be less than 10. If the color happens before the 4 drops, the reading will be over 10. So in this case, the color did not start developing until after the drops were put in. So a very faint blue-gray with a clear background is less than 5. A faint blue-gray, no clear and no ring, is a 6. The ring is just starting to develop. When it begins to see pieces of blue ring or clumps at the outer 1/3, but not quite a solid ring, it's a 7. When there's a complete ring with blue-gray background outside and inside of the ring, it's an 8. So it's got a full solid ring coming out. And the 7 has a solid ring closer in, and 6 isn't quite developed the ring and is really light compared to the background. 9, the ring is moving out and getting wider, and the background is getting a little darker. Ring touching the outside, thickening to the center, and the light blue is gone, is a 9 to a 10. Darkening more to navy blue is an 11, and almost totally navy blue with just a spot in the center is a 12, and then just a pinhole is a 13, and solid is a 14, and you would need to dilute it and redo the reading. The proteins tell you how well your body is digesting and utilizing the proteins that you're taking in, whether it's keeping them too long or whether you're not eating enough at all. And if you're keeping them in too long, then they become dangerous and hard on your heart. Your heart has to pump harder in order to move your blood around because your proteins are too high. Reading the blue one is very faint, so it would be under 4. 4 or under. So that basically says that there's not enough protein going in, or the body's not able to digest it and pull out the nitrogen and ammonia from the protein that is going in. So if somebody was to keep this position for too long, they might actually have to start using pre-digested proteins in order to get their proteins up, because without enough protein, now your blood isn't able to transport enough potassium to your brain in order for your brain to function at max capacity. So it would be considered a potassium deficiency because of the lack of proteins. Next, we have the salts. So this one, we get to just use a salt meter. We're done with the tablet. So we put the salt meter in there, let it stabilize the reading. We want to make sure everything's up to the right temperature for working, 77 degrees. And when it normalizes, then we will use our calculator. We'll grab a calculator, divide the reading by 0.7. So 6 and 7 after it's been divided out. So we would have 5.52 divided by 0.7 is 7.88. So the salts in that sample are a little high, which would mean that being on the program, the body is throwing out salts, and a little bit less salt could be taken in on a daily basis. And last, we have the refractometer. And you just put 2 drops of urine on the plate and make sure that it's fully covered, that there are no air bubbles in there. And then you'll look through the eyepiece and take a reading. I'm not going to try and put it up to the camera on this, it's really hard to go through. But the sugars in this reading are 1.0. And ideally, sugars need to be between 1.2 to 2.0 to be functioning at optimal healing capacity. So then we would take our numbers and write all those answers onto a sheet. Okay, so I'm working in a small area here for the camera's sake. So we've got gender. So the gender matters because females need 7 times more calcium than a man. So when she is deficient, it's going to make a bigger impact. Age, 45. Height matters because when you're shorter, you should weigh less than if you're taller. And if you're shorter, you need less calciums on a regular basis than if you're taller. We're going to put 5'7". Beginning weight, we didn't take a weight, but we're going to say around 139. Ethnicity matters because the darker skinned you are, the more salt is going to make an impact. The warmer you are naturally when you're darker skinned, and the more you sweat. Religion just verifies the possibility of certain diet choices. And occupation is how hard somebody works or the possibility of being in compounds or chemicals that aren't going to be good for their diet. Okay, date 3/2/25. Time was around noon. Okay, the bricks was 1.0. Urine pH was 5.8. Saliva pH was 6.0. Salts were 7.88. Cell debris, which we didn't really discuss, but is clear with a few particles in it, so that would be a 4M. The more particles, the more pluses get put back here. And if it's clear and there's absolutely no particles, then it would be a less than 4M. Nitrate nitrogen was a 4, and ammonia nitrogen was a 5, for a total of 9, and weight 139. This is an excellent way to go on a weight loss program because you can do it and get healthy for sure at the same time.